Welcome to The Difference. I'm Steve Castile, and today Anthony and I are continuing our conversation about our new vision, our evolving vision, whatever vision it is right now that we're having for the hour. So stay tuned. Welcome back.
Our vision problems.
Exactly. With double vision, astigmatism. Anthony, you were talking last week that we're all about stories. And as you said, I was going to have a good story. I had to think one up. So,
I put you on the spot.
well,
you know what?
but we both, you had mentioned, you tried to kind of lead me into it. One of the stories that we have is you and I, when I was communication director at the annual conference, were sent to general conference. And
There are a lot of stories
there
with
are a
that.
ton of stories with that. But one of the discoveries we made is as we were walking from our hotel, kind of looking at the lay of the land around us, we stumbled on this little restaurant called Stone Soup, which is, that's one of my favorite stories. And I thought, well, I have a dormant nonprofit. I want to go see what Stone Soup's about. So we walk into the restaurant and we're sitting there looking at the menu, and this little voice from the back said, "Hey, y'all, welcome to Stone Soup." And we both turned and said, "Where are you from?" And she said, "Waynesboro, Mississippi."
Yep.
And so here we are in Ybor City in Florida, and
And she's working for
and
a Jewish
she's working.
chef, an owner of the restaurant, and she's from Waynesboro, Mississippi. It was funny.
And so we laughed about that. We said, well, this is where we're going to eat lunch. Well, she said, you got to meet my boss. So she brings Ilya out, and Ilya had this story. I said, I've got to know why Stone Soup. And his mom was an immigrant. They came. He was an engineer. I can't remember. It was not electrical, but maybe a computer engineer.
Maybe so.
And he said he just got so frustrated with his job, and he had been making his mom's recipes in a crock pot in his apartment, and people would come and say, "Oh, Ilya, this soup is so good." And so he decided that he would start selling it out of his apartment, and out of that he started and found this location of Stone Soup. And the thing that we loved about it was not only was the food good, best Cuban I've ever put in my mouth.
And he sent me that recipe when I asked for it. I could not believe that. And we still make his Cubans at our house.
And he started talking about,
the sandwiches, not the cigars.
Exactly, which were nearby. And he said, I do this soup, but I knew my mom would not just want me to do this. So what we do is for every cup of soup we sell, we give a cup to some of the nonprofits that are around.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, it was the epitome of what we both love, and that was somebody doing what they're passionate about, somebody just making a turn in their life they never expected, somebody paying homage to their roots and remembering their own story, and at the same time, somebody finding a way to do good with that.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's who we want to be.
I mean, we're still talking about him all these years later.
Exactly.
Still eating the sandwiches. But that idea of Stone Soup, and you and I, we went to Universal Studios one day. We kind of skipped out of conference because we were looking for other stories to tell.
Exactly. Besides the stories we were supposed to be telling.
Exactly. And we had a good time doing that. But again, we laugh and we think of these things and how beautiful it is in life. Again, the story you're about to tell involves food, but we bring pieces of ourselves to life, and we share that with each other, and it just makes all of our lives richer. And hearing Ilya's story, that was incredible. And we were not expecting that. We were not expecting to encounter that in outside of Tampa, Florida, of all places.
And he and I still Facebook message back and
That's
forth.
cool.
And it's just so cool. He lost the restaurant in the last storm and just decided to go another way. But that story just stuck with me. And as we're thinking about the new vision and the new story for the hour, uh, part of what we want is this not to be some kind of technical, oh, we're changing media, or we're going to be at a new location, or watch these new bells
Mhm.
and whistles. But instead it's like we're finding new stories. We want to be able to share with you things that affected us. Just like, I mean, it almost felt like we were in this kind of movie as from the very beginning of where you're from,
Right.
Waynesboro. You can't make this stuff up.
Right.
And so, as we begin to talk, immediately friendships were struck up immediately. We went and ate lunch, I think, there almost every single
Right.
day
Right.
and tried something else on the menu and tickled out and ended up doing an interview with
We
Ilya,
did. We did.
which
And we'll share
we
some of
should do
those.
that.
We
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 should
will.
dig back into the archives. But that brings us to this new phase. What social media gives us the opportunity to do is, first of all, have archives. Bryant's in the midst of right now transferring all this just cornucopia of different people, different messages, different segments that we had on our TV show for people to be able to go and access
Right.
just like they would something on Netflix. At the same time, we're able to archive our podcasts and we're able to tie it together and later, as you said, hopefully add some courses, some inspirational stuff that
Right.
that people can kind of come to one place and find this creative workshop of where they can pick out what they need for that day or discover what they didn't know they needed.
Right. And you there was a season in your life when you were pastoring, and you would do a series called The Greatest Stories Ever Told.
Exactly.
And you had your story stick, and you
Hmm.
would everyone would gather around, and it was a little bit more informal kind of storytelling setting. That's how I'm envisioning this and going forward. If we can identify and set the setting. And
Hmm.
I watch my father-in-law. He loves to tell stories. A lot of them are the same stories sometimes, and that's great because we know what's coming, and we can see the new person in the room experience the telling of this story. But it's sort of like we have to get all the distraction. We have to make sure everybody's tuned in, everybody's listening. We've got something to drink and we're listening, and maybe with a little piece of dessert, and we're ready to hear these stories, and we just settle in and that conversation. And I think we're losing so much of that with kids being, and I don't want to sound like the old crotchety old man. I mean, but the growing up with here just flipping through on the phone,
Scrolling,
and
scrolling,
we've
scrolling.
got that reality, and part of our vision is having to maneuver in those worlds and
Yeah.
figure out how to navigate that. But we don't want to lose sight of the the rich the richness of being able to just sit, break bread together, to sit and have a Coke together, and just tell stories
Exactly.
and be present. And I think that's part of it. You've
And
got to
I'm just
listen.
not willing to let true crime own podcasts.
True crime. That's right.
I,
And true crime podcasts. I've listened to
oh,
some of
I
those.
love them, but that's, the thing is that people have an appetite. People love true crime because it's a story. And they
Absolutely.
find themselves being drawn
And
into
what
that
more
story
dramatic
and
story is
try to
somebody.
figure out who done it or
Right,
how they
right.
did it or why they did it. And so we want to offer some other stories that entice you in that said, how did they get there? Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Or what a need. I wish I could help there. It becomes a whole different set of
That's right.
questions because
Who
it's a whole
killed
different.
with kindness? Yeah.
It was Colonel Mustard with the candlestick in the. Uh, we every illustration I use is so dated. I've got to really up
Steve,
my
look at us.
game.
We are pretty dated. The good news is though, our a lot of our audience is dated too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we a lot of the
Don't
people.
leave, young
Please
people.
don't leave. But you know, a lot of the people that we interact with and all are seasoned veterans like we are.
Exactly.
Um, you know, Wendy Bagwell years ago, he was a gospel singer and storyteller. He was a great storyteller, and but he said, I prayed for God to make me the best singer in gospel music and the best musician. And God said, I'm not going to do either one of those things, but I tell you what I will do. I'll give you an audience that doesn't know the difference. And so he says, so he goes out and sings and plays, and it doesn't matter because
Right.
he communed and he had his friends and his followers, and I think that gives me hope that
Right.
we're not the best, certainly not the funniest. I mean, just listen to us, but we do enjoy what we're doing. We are passionate about not just creativity, I mean, but just life. There is
Right.
so much good, and we have been so blessed. We have been so blessed to get to participate in the things we get to do.
Right.
And you and I have a new graphic novel project
Hmm.
that we've talked about doing for years, but we're doing something about it. Um, Possibility thinking. And we have a God that has a big, infinite storehouse. We have a God who has all of the communication marketing channels figured out. We have a
Right.
God that transcends all of that. I think if we just keep seeking out those stories with the difference and the name, you know, we get asked about the name, who are different? Are you different? Do you think differently? You know, Walter Anderson thought differently.
Right.
John the Baptist thought differently. You know, we've
Exactly.
got these people in our life. Billy Graham thought differently, and he lived differently. Are you a different? And it's not just a religious thing. It's a whole mindset of the world's going this way, but I choose to think that this is possible. I choose to think, well, why can't we set up a studio? Why can't we do this? That's what I'm a champion of. Is that we have a God who says you have not because you ask not.
That's it. And I think that's where we weave in the faith element, because you and I both believe that going to church is not the point, even though worshiping is critical. It's
It's an
Jesus said,
overflow of
I've come that you might have early service, so you could get up early again and go to church. No, it's I've come that you might have life and have it abundantly.
right.
And Jesus was a consumer of life. Jesus was a lover of stories. And part of why you and I both have faith um, is that we love the life that Jesus not only lived but gave.
Yeah.
And so we try to interlace
And
that
rarely
within
was
the
that
everyday
on
life.
Sunday services.
Or
Jesus was,
Saturday Sabbath. Yeah,
yes, or
exactly.
Sabbath. You know, Jesus was bringing life to the party. He was bringing life to the well at noon. He was
Exactly.
bringing life as you go.
Right.
And I think we live our lives sometimes thinking, oh, well, let's go to church on Sunday so we can get filled up for the week.
Right.
Maybe Sunday should be the day that we're reporting on the life that we've had throughout the week.
Ooh, look out.
Uh-oh.
Hmm.
And if you'll give now. No.
Well, I do think let's kind of get specific here.
Okay.
One of the things that's been the challenge for me is I'm not a technical guru, even though I love stuff. But the way that we've gone in a new media with social media, uh, a lot, as you said, of our viewers who had appointment TV are seasoned, and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram are not their most familiar tools.
Right.
And yet, one of the reasons we were drawn to this is because where before on appointment TV we might have 50, 60,000 capacity if we really had a good response, we can do something on YouTube that goes viral and it can have a million.
And
It
it
can
can
have
be,
100,000
and
on
it doesn't air once.
exactly.
On
It's there.
television, it would air and that was over.
Right.
This is shelf life. This is
Right.
the Word of God being put out, the wonderful stories, the good news being put out,
Hmm.
and it stays out.
Yeah.
And that intersection can happen at I wake up at 4 in the morning and I'm up and I turn on YouTube to drink my coffee and start my day. I'm intersected with creativity. I'm intersected
Exactly.
with stuff that somebody recorded, and I'll look and it says posted 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And that person may not even still be alive, but I'm being affected by something that was done then. And it's the same idea as reading a book by someone who has gone on to glory or whatever. But what that's what I love about this, and I'm more excited about this than I was about just churning out a weekly television series.
Right.
These are things and these are stories that we can tell, and they can live on through this
And they can
YouTube medium.
retell
Yeah.
themselves. I mean, you were talking about, you as families we gather and Uncle so and so's telling the story and we hear it every year. On my Facebook page, here's some memories, and I click on them and I'm back in Zimbabwe.
Right.
Or I click on them and I'm in Philly at the homeless thing. Or I click on them and there's my wedding picture. And,
And you forgot you even
and I've
posted these. Now you're ministering to yourself.
exactly. Well, as you said, it is just this enormous potential. And so we want you to know where we are. We have a Facebook page that is The Hour, and you can find that Facebook page. Usually, what I do, we post twice a day, just inspirational posts that I curate. I look through, and in the mornings I get up and I post something, and in the evenings I post something. And without us even really pushing hard, now the analytics show that we're between 8 and 10,000 people that interact with those posts. And additionally, like during Lent, I've been doing a daily devotion called The Power of Words. I post that in the early mornings. It's centered around scripture and our conversation about, sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt us. That's a lie. And the fact that the Word of God is a very powerful thing,
Right.
as are our words. So we post devotions like that. Soon we'll start posting some Facebook Live kind of worship called Back Porch Church, where I will do a little bit of speaking.
Mm.
And so we're thinking about adding some courses, which in our other media is YouTube, and our
Right.
YouTube channel has both our
Is the
podcasts.
evolution of our hour stream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's moving off the website into YouTube, which is this incredible free interactive place that allows you to post and repost. And
And what some people may not understand, Google is the world's largest search engine by far. Google owns YouTube. And when you search for certain things through Google, the YouTube things are at the top, and it all works together. So we're very strategically saying let's really put our eggs in the YouTube basket
right.
and do that, because and it's also free,
Yeah.
and we have paid for other services throughout these years, and we've both done that kind of thing, but we're so excited about this. And even Facebook, like I shared your Lenten study,
Hmm.
and I got a message this morning from Joey Smith, my old roommate, and we just did a book together, and he said, "This is so rich, good stuff here. Thankful I read it first thing today."
Hmm.
These things are not returning void.
Right.
These are good things going out there, and I've told the story on this program before. So here's my story for the week. I was I was the communications director at First Baptist Church of Hattiesburg. We had a television station, so we had Channel 6 in the Hattiesburg area. So everybody that had cable had Channel 6. And I took it to 24-hour programming, and I did a Southern Sketches art show, and we had the youth service on Wednesday night. We broadcast that live. I mean, we were doing all kinds of things. Dean Wade had a talk show, and that's where I first met Robert St. John. He came
Mm.
and was on the show, and just we hit it off. I would strategically schedule the replay of the Sunday service from last week after one of my art shows. So one Tuesday, a gentleman showed up at the church and asked to see the pastor, Jeff Clark, and Jeff's crazy, but full of life. You know, Jeff was just a bundle of creativity himself. You know, and we got along very well. And Jeff calls me down and he said, "I want you to hear something." This gentleman was changing channels last night at 2 a.m, and the guy said, "I saw this guy doing a painting." So I stopped and I watched him do this painting. Well, it was me doing a watercolor painting because I had scheduled that while I was home asleep. Jeff was home asleep. This guy's changing channels, sees that replay, starts watching the painting, got involved in that, and left it on that channel. And the church service started after that. And in the middle of Jeff's sermon, he gave his life to Christ and showed up at the church and wanted to be baptized on a Tuesday morning. And Jeff's words were used by God to convict this gentleman and have this life-changing experience. But Jeff was home asleep. I was home asleep. All that happened because of how I had scheduled it and how I believe the Holy Spirit had me program that. And I will never, ever forget that because it just showed me the power of we will never know all the things that God uses in our lives that we don't even know about because we're asleep or it's something we've done. But God says, "I'm going to take this good work that you did back here and you're not even going to know about it, but I'm still using that." Or this post that someone did 12 years ago or something. And that excites me that these things, the Facebook posts, the social media, the YouTube, how our conversations can live on. And as long as people are sharing those and those are getting out,
Right.
then they're also involved. You become a broadcaster every time you share
Exactly.
something, and you send something to me or I share it, and a friend of mine who doesn't know you, but he's touched by your words and said, "I needed that this morning." That's a beautiful thing, and I believe that's how we are instruments of the good news these days. Is we share things. So are you sharing something negative? Are you saying, "Here's this inflammatory social post about something political, so I'm going to share that"? Or are you sharing something uplifting and something that can be used to touch someone's life and lift them up and encourage? And that's what we're trying to do. Provide people resources to share.
And I think that's the whole thing. We have those posts, but they don't work unless you like and share them. That
Yeah.
you and we're not saying to do that. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it.
You don't have to comment if you don't like
Exactly.
it. But no,
Don't get it. But I mean the sharing part is, the cool thing about social media on Facebook, you don't have to post it on your main feed. You can send it to a friend.
right.
You can do the same thing with any of the social media. With
If you're embarrassed to share our post, you can just share that privately.
Exactly. And with the YouTube, it goes cross-platform. You can share it in any of the social medias
Right.
and put these podcasts there. But we're also in almost every podcast app. We're in
Right.
Spotify. We're in Apple.
Yep.
We're in what? Well, anyway, most of the
YouTube. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
YouTube,
I mean, but
the
Audible.
formats where you can Audible, you can send those, and so uh, it just so malleable and so wide open that's our vision to use that. And the longer we do this, the more we hope to begin to create a community where our long range vision is to have local events in different areas that call the difference together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our other shorter range goal is to begin to celebrate and acknowledge people who make a difference by giving awards and doing that at regional banquets and other banquets. And then my deepest long range goal is for us to become a partner with a lot of these people who do good and in the art community to help generate resources and funding for them to do the visions they want to, because the days of big grant pools, the days of denominations lining up and doling out a lot of money are going away. And so we want to find creative ways to help you, help us,
Yeah.
help them, help others. And that's a lot of a chain of
Yeah.
of exchange, but that's what we want to be about. And so the first start, and I've never been embarrassed to ask for money. What we ask is help us fund this so we can move into the visions. And we're going to be rolling out in about a month a new initiative that will be kind of our fundraiser for the hour and the difference. We've created a new giving partner where now you can give electronically through a company called Giving Butter, and we're going to be sharing
like
some.
butter.
It's like butter. It's smooth. It's easy, and we'll be sharing some tutorials online with that. And our point is that we want to get to the point where this ministry, we're not asking for money for us. We're asking for money for these other places.
Right.
We've already partnered with Jim Moore and Road to Recovery, and now we help them distribute thousands of dollars of grants to people who are in recovery. And have to let you know that we got the news today that the city of Hattiesburg is giving Road to Recovery a grant that will help them
That's great.
continue to do that, and the hour and the difference will be curators of that. I did my first consulting with the nonprofit, went down to the coast to Seashore Assembly, a place that's very dear to me, and talked with them about a vision and a plan of how they can continue to serve the community. So this is more than just the storytelling. It's a vehicle for us to truly engage. We're asking you to engage with some of these nonprofits. We want you to know that we're engaging personally.
Right.
Your work with so many artists and the things you're doing here at the Institute are all really hands-on ways for people to do just what we're hoping they do.
And Steve, it's sort of like you say, gosh, I'll be glad on public television when they are through with the drive time and they stop asking for money and just go back to programming. We're not going to continually, you've bared with us a couple of weeks of talking vision. It's passionate. We do need your help. We need your prayers. We need your likes and shares, all of that. But we are going to share these things that we're talking about, that we're passionate about, and we won't be rehashing all of this every week.
No.
We're going to get back to our regular format next time, but we do appreciate you listening and hearing our heart, because it's that pesky thing of you have to do that. You have to pay the bills. You have to do, but and we have shrunken those bills and those costs down so much. So we've tried to be good stewards of that, and we're trying to, going forward, what are the ways we can use our graces and gifts to help lift other people up
And tell their stories. Well, we hope that you'll go to our Facebook page, the Hour Facebook page. We also have a Difference Facebook page, the Difference Podcast Facebook page, and we have the YouTube, which is the Hour Stream.
Our stream, yes.
YouTube channel. And check those out, subscribe, like, and we'll be sending out a tutorial for those of you who do that. That'll tell you how you can give online through Giving Butter. And later on online, we'll be sharing kind of our next initiative of how we're funding this podcast and this ministry so that we can help others. I hope maybe as you listen, maybe God has struck a note in your heart that you want to be a part of that. And And if not, we hope that you'll go and draw from the resources that we're so excited to share. So as we close out, thank you for listening. And as we say, at our next episode, we're going to take you on another story, introduce you to people you may not know, but that you're going to want to know when we're through talking. And all of it is because we're trying to live loved.
You've been listening to The Difference, a presentation of The Hour. The Difference is made in conjunction with and partnership with the Institute for Southern Storytelling at Mississippi College. To find out more about the Institute and ways that we are partnering and mentoring young lives through storytelling, filmmaking, and more, visit us at southernstorytelling.mc.edu. And for more resources from The Hour and from The Difference, check us out at our Hour Stream platform with the streaming content at thehour.org. I'm Anthony Thaxton. Thanks for joining.